Welcome everyone to Couch Potato Diary. It's a Fightin' Friday. My name is Peter Klein. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Coming up on the show, we look at AEW. No, we don't. We look at WWE Bash in Berlin. AEW was over in Europe last week. This week it is WWE Bash in Berlin as we look at every match on the card and I give you my thoughts on it. So that's what's coming up. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. All right, WWE Bash in Berlin goes down this weekend in Berlin. In the main event, it is Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Randy Orton. Okay, so I'm just going to go from 1 to 5 in the order that it is on Wikipedia in right now. So we will start with Cody Rhodes against Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship. I think this is going to be a heck of a match, and I think it's telling an interesting story with Kevin Owens right now. I do think this is highlighting a bit of an issue in WWE, that there aren't enough heels on the SmackDown side. But then at the same time, like, I don't know, like, aside from, like, there's Cody and LA Knight, not a whole lot of baby faces on that side either. Like, they put so much into the bloodline, but I do think that there needs to be maybe a little bit, they don't have enough talent, I don't think at the championship level established right now that isn't involved in that bloodline storyline. And there's a few that will be at some point, right? Like Jacob Fatu, I think world champion written all over him. I still think Solo can get there. Obviously you have Roman. But then outside of that, like Andrade could, Carmelo Hayes could, LA Knight could, like they have all these guys, but they're just not here yet. And so you have Cody, the first time this company has gone like with the real babyface guy in a little bit, but there isn't that heel factory coming in that he needs to have these matches with. And so the like ticket sales wise, Cody's performances, none of that has really been hindered at all. But I feel like from a story standpoint, this has not been an overly inspiring run. Like that there has not been a Cody feud that has really connected with me yet. And this one is the same. And I think the world of Kevin Owens as a performer. But this is going to be a really difficult match for this crowd to believe that Kevin Owens has a hope in hell of winning it. And this could set up another Kevin Owens heel turn down the road or something along those lines. But for right now, this match, it just the intrigue just isn't there for me at this moment. So I do think Cody Rhodes gets the win. Mixed tag team match. It'll be the Terror Twins against Damian Priest. The Terror Twins of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley against the Judgment Days, Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. This feels like one of the ones where the baby faces kind of get their moment. Dom gets hit by Rhea Ripley and everyone gets very excited about it. And that leads to a big blow-off match between the two of them, but between like really having trouble right now. Damian and Dominic on the one side, and Rhea and Liv on the other side. That feels like an opportunity to, like, this is the start of it, but let's get a couple of extra weeks out of this thing. So let's do it that way. As Damian Priest, I think, kind of works through the Judgment Day kind of one by one, working his way back up to the top. I think they get the win. I will say, like, I feel like post-championship, Damian Priest, like, action-wise, is again carrying himself the way that he should. He's this big ass-kicking guy who is out there and just dominant. Rhea Ripley, kind of the same. But the dialogue that these two have, I think it is showing, we've seen a bit of this now. It was Bianca a few years ago. It's Damian Priest. It's Rhea Ripley. I'm sure there are other examples. Guys who go from, and maybe this is a wrestling-wide thing, because Swerve had the same kind of issue. You go from being this badass, awesome ass kicker of a bad guy, and you try to translate it over into being a good guy. And there's this miscommunication, I think, with people who are booking wrestling and what we, as the fans, sometimes want, where they are trying to make these cool bad guys into still cool baby faces, but maybe not as bad as they were before. And it takes some of the edge away from the characters, and it's tough for us to get back into them. The dialogue that Priest and Ripley have had has been atrocious in this whole build. And so hopefully they get back to, hey, can we just do our characters the way we've been doing them and the way people were kind of getting behind us anyway, with just like, we won't cheat as much. That's basically all we want from these guys. And so I hope that starts to turn around here. CM Punk against Drew McIntyre in a strap match. This one does feel like CM Punk gets his win back, and they go to Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood a month from now. I believe it's in Atlanta. I think like this has been good. I get a lot of people are a little bit like on the bracelet thing. I think you probably didn't need to include that, but I think it's a nice little kind of storytelling feature. So I think people are looking too much at the object and not enough at what everything else around this means. But if people are looking too much into that, then that's obviously, if enough people are looking into it, then that is a flaw in the storytelling, just inherently. So, either way, this is going to be a really, really fun match. And I think this is where some of that edge in CM Punk comes out. It's great to see him, and he is good on the mic, but he has definitely been a bit of a watered-down version of what we are more familiar with from CM Punk, both in his time in WWE before and also at the other places, AEW. It hasn't really clicked the same way, but it's still been fun to see him, and he has still been good, but we haven't really got that CM Punk level yet that we would want to. I think Punk gets the win here. Then it is the women's tag team titles on the line as the unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn take on Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. This one, I think you have to do Bianca and Jade, but I said this earlier in the week. This unholy union has not clicked at all, and they finally gave him a win on the last on one of these last Raws to kind of like, okay, we didn't just give these guys the tag team titles just because they were in their hometown. But I thought there was a real opportunity. Like, if you want to just do that, just give a hometown moment, that's fine. Especially if you're going to do with Drew what you did with Drew. But at some point, you then have to, okay, well, this is an opportunity to build them. And we never really got that there hasn't really been that clicking. And so, on the one hand, you do risk just forever having these characters being viewed in this way. On the other hand, I think it is more important to get Bianca and Jade over. And so I think this is kind of probably shouldn't have done that. Here we go back with them. I don't think you can have Bianca and Jade lose to them again. And I think it is too early to do we're frustrated with each other because we keep losing feud with Bianca and with Jade. I think that they need to kind of reestablish them as this dominant force tag team. And then right around, probably WrestleMania-ish. Maybe they break off that way. Although I do still like my idea from after SummerSlam when we booked to WrestleMania 41. I do like the idea of having Bianca and Jade against Charlotte and Becky at WrestleMania. All right, the main event. It is for the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther, the Ring General, defending against Randy Orton. If Randy Orton wins, he will be transferred to Raw, and Gunther will be transferred to SmackDown. So at least they put a little bit of that in there. I still think it's a little lame, but it is what it is. This is another one. This is going to be a good match. And I think the build to this has been okay. It's been a little frustrating, but it's been okay. But no one is going to buy that Randy Orton is going to win this championship from Gunther in Berlin. It's just not going to happen. So this is going to be a difficult match for the crowd to get into. Maybe not. This crowd will not have trouble getting into a Gunther match. I should change. I should have thought of that. But in terms of like a me at home, it's going to be tough for me to buy any kind of near fall in this match or anything like that. The frustrating thing about this build is they kind of feel like they're trying to play Gunther up as like the bad guy in a kid show where it's like, you will never catch me off guard. RKO out of nowhere. I see everything. Thumb to the eye. Like it feels so sophomoric and so kind of predictable and all of those things. And Gunther, I don't think you need to be making Gunther the straight man in all these and just like a weird comedy character all of a sudden. I think you need to continue with what you were doing with him before and having it continue to be this dominant guy. And they're doing a very bad job of trying to infuse a little more likability and a little more personality into some of these characters. And it isn't working at all. Keep Gunther being Gunther. Randy and Ludwig Kaiser, I think, had a great match. And this is something that Randy sometimes struggles with. The Viper Randy Orton is such a better character than babyface Randy Orton. Some of the babyface stuff, it's fun to cheer along with him and all those things, but like the Viper and the bad guy is where it really shines. And I'm not saying that Gunther is trying to be a good guy here, but I do think that they need to kind of build him up maybe a little bit more, and get kind of that anger that he had back. All right, that is going to do it. A very quick one today, but that's going to be it for our Bash in Berlin preview. No post show. I'm off for the long weekend. I'm going to be out in Saskatchewan. That's why there's like 5 podcasts out today. I'm going to be out in Saskatchewan for the long weekend. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I know, like we've had for the football shows and stuff today, we've had the Flame stuff in the background with the news of Johnny Gaudreau. And I know it's been a very tough day and all of that. It's been, you probably noticed how frazzled I've been at different points on this show. But yeah, just again, tell your loved ones that you love them. Have a great long weekend, everyone. And I will talk to you all next week.